His phone lit the darkness at 3:39 a.m. The light from the notification illuminated the room brighter than any LED light could. I remember the time exactly as I'd been staring at the ceiling for hours. William just got home and immediately went to the shower. Another late-night business excuse, another night alone in our bed. I picked up the phone with trembling, slim fingers and pressed the notification. The notification shook me to my core. It read, "I miss your skin against mine already. Can't wait until tomorrow when you tell her." My chest tightened as if an elephant had suddenly sat on my heart. The sender was Viola, his newly hired assistant, a woman I'd met at the latest company gathering. I knew something was off when she kept staring at me with hateful eyes. Her cold stare over the rim of her wine glass sent chills through my spine. William never introduced her, but I learned who she was while in the ladies' restroom, overhearing ladies talk about her, and William being comfortably close. I casually asked William about her on our ride home in the car. He was dismissive. "She is my new assistant. Don't be dramatic, Savannah. Your constant accusations about any woman within a 10-mile radius of me is exhausting." I quickly grabbed my phone and took a screenshot. I scrolled through their messages. There were months of inappropriate conversations shared between them, some more vulgar than others. I took pictures of all of them. I then placed his phone back on the nightstand as soon as I heard the running water turn off. I quickly steadied my breathing and locked my phone, then pretended to be asleep. I can tell from the light in the room that he checked the notification on his phone. I heard him let out a soft chuckle. 6 years of marriage, and this is how it comes to an end. Countless nights holding each other through disappointment and grief from trying to conceive with no success. Waking every morning to track my ovulation cycles and crying myself to sleep when my period arrived like clockwork. 3 months ago, I finally agreed to my doctor's suggestion to get tested to see if I was infertile. I was not the problem. I didn't tell William my test results. I don't know why. Maybe intuitively, I knew something was wrong with this marriage. There's something else William didn't know. Something I'd been hiding for 8 weeks now, a secret that made this betrayal all the more devastating. I touched my still flat stomach. The baby in my stomach is not for William. The next confession may portray me as the villain, but let me explain. It happened one night, one amazing night. 2 months ago, my life changed. William had gone on yet another business trip to Houston. I was left home alone again, not paying attention when I opened a second bottle of wine when Franklin showed up at our door. William's younger brother, my brother-in-law Franklin, the quieter one, the kinder one, the one with a smile that could make you slip your panties off. William asked me to drop off these mountain climbing gear. He said he was going on a business retreat, he'd explained while rainwater dripped from his dark hair, his drenched white t-shirt clinging to muscular chest. I remember inviting him in, the bottle of wine I'd just opened being poured into another glass. I handed him the glass before he could refuse. Before I realized what I was doing, I had leaned over and began nibbling on Franklin's neck. Franklin placed his glass down and pulled me closer, whispering in my ear, "He's a fool," he said, voice low, "if you were mine." He stopped himself, but I saw his eyes, years of unspoken feelings, years of standing in his brother's shadow, a brief sense of clarity. "I shouldn't have kissed you," I said. My voice betrayed the passion that was surging through my body. Next thing I know, we were in the bedroom. His grip was firm yet gentle. It was like he knew my body. Nothing like the robotic movements of his brother. I clung to him afterwards, both of us shaking with regret and release. "This can never happen again," I'd whispered against his shoulder. "Never say never, Umid," he replied. He tightened his arms around me. We became entangled again. One night, one mistake, one secret, until the pregnancy test came back positive. I knew immediately it was Franklin's baby, as William and I hadn't been intimate in months. Then I began to strategize how to secure a future for my child and myself. I planned to tell William, passing it off as our miracle baby. The next morning, I watched William prepare for work, this time with new eyes, a new plan. He was dressing for his big presentation. "Today," he said cheerfully, kissing my forehead, "might be another late night." I smiled. The expression feels like a crack in porcelain. "Good luck," I said. As soon as he left, I ran to the bathroom and threw up morning sickness mingled with disgust. Not sure if it was due to my own deception or his betrayal. I called in sick to my job at the architectural firm. I couldn't focus on blueprints and client meetings, not today. Instead, I sat at our kitchen table with both hands on my stomach, feeling utterly alone. My phone vibrated with a text from Franklin. Hey, just checking on you. You seemed quiet at Sunday dinner. Everything okay? Sunday dinner 3 days ago with William's hand on my knee under the table while holding the phone with his other hand. He smiled at his phone. Text messages between him and Viola. Across the table, Franklin was watching me with worried eyes. Their parents soon to be grandparents without knowing it and passing the green beans. I didn't answer Franklin's text. I couldn't. Instead, I opened my laptop and began searching, first for William's email password, our anniversary date. How ironic. Then his cloud storage, his calendar, piecing together the extent of his betrayal like a detective assembling evidence. Dinner reservations at places we never attended, hotel bookings, a saved email thread where they discussed their future together. She's been so distant, he'd written about me. It's like living with a ghost. You make me feel vibrant again. I read those words multiple times, each time feeling them cut deeper. Is that how he saw me? A ghost? A failure? A burden? I saved everything. Closing the laptop and placing it to the side, feeling calm and determined. They thought they knew everything. They thought they held all the cards, but they had no idea what I was planning. That afternoon, the doorbell rang. It was my mother-in-law, Karen, standing there with chicken noodle soup and concern etched onto her face. "William called me," she explained, stepping inside without waiting for an invitation. "He said you were sick, so I brought chicken noodle soup." Karen was never a warm woman, proper, elegant, but withholding especially with me. She made it clear from the beginning that she imagined someone different for her golden boy, someone of their social level, someone who could give them grandchildren. I watched her move through my kitchen like she was the woman of this house, opening cabinets she knew by heart, retrieving bowls. "You don't look sick," she observed, ladling soup into a bowl. "Just tired. I'm fine," I insisted. "Just needed a day off," I continued. She stared at me with those penetrating eyes, the same blue as Franklin's, not William's. William had his father's eyes. "Are you pregnant?" she asked bluntly. My hand instinctively went to my stomach before I could stop myself. Her eyes followed the movement, widening slightly. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You are." "I haven't told William yet," I said quickly. It's early and I just recently found out." "Oh dear." Genuine emotion broke through her reserved exterior and pulled me into an awkward hug, patting my back. "This is wonderful news. William will be ecstatic," she said. Would the news of this pregnancy stop him from leaving me for Viola, or would it just complicate his exit strategy? I thought to myself. "Don't tell him," I begged. "I want the news to come from me." She nodded, but I could see the wheels turning in her mind. Finally a grandchild, the heir she'd been waiting for. William's son or daughter, except it wasn't William's. It was Franklin's. Her other son. The one she hardly mentions. The one whose achievements were barely acknowledged compared to William's successes. After she left, I sat on the bathroom floor. I'd just finished vomiting, not sure if the fakeness from Karen or if morning sickness is the culprit. Soon after, my phone vibrated. It was Franklin again. "Seriously, is everything okay? I haven't heard from you," he texted. I almost called him. Almost, but what would I say? "Your brother's cheating. I'm pregnant with your child." Just murmuring the words made my head spin. Instead, I texted back, "I'm fine, just need some time." That night, William came home right after work, much earlier than I expected. His face was troubled. He brought me ginger tea in bed, sat on the edge of the bed, and took my hand in his. "We need to talk," he said softly. This was the speech I had seen in his email drafts to Viola. In a low, steady voice, he continued, "I care about you, but this isn't working anymore." I braced myself, rehearsing my own lines. I wouldn't scream or cry. I just asked him if his infidelity was more than the child I'm carrying. His face went pale. He didn't know I knew of Viola. William was surprised, then blinked confusedly. "That's wonderful. How far along?" Purposely not addressing the infidelity. "A couple months," I said. "Apparently one of our late-night sessions after you came home late." His eyes displayed shock and confusion, but he plastered a fake smile on his face. I know this baby derailed his plans. Plans with Viola. Then he mentioned how he recently received a promotion at work. "There's a catch," he squeezed my hand. "We'd have to relocate to London for at least 3 years." So he and Viola planned on starting a new life in London. Now he'd be in London, an ocean away from Viola, an ocean away from his mistress. "The timing isn't great, I know," he continued. "After everything we've been through with trying for a baby, but maybe a fresh start is what we need." I stared at him. I can see the signs of regret on his face. Was the regret for having to stay with me? Was the regret for now having to leave his precious Viola behind? Would he take me to London, then leave me alone in a foreign city while he flew back for business trips to see Viola? It didn't matter. The plan was in motion. When would we go? I asked carefully. That's the thing. He ran a hand through his hair. They need an answer by Friday. Then we'd leave in 3 weeks if I accept. 3 weeks. My mind raced with the implications of taking his brother's baby to another continent. I'd trapped myself in a marriage with a man who was in love with someone else. What about Viola? I asked, watching his face. For a split second, panic flashed in his eyes. I will end things, his head lowered. This baby and the move, if you agree, will be a fresh start for us, a renewal. Okay, let's do it, I said. The relief on his face was so obvious it made me sick. That night I lay awake beside him, listening to his breathing. When did he become a stranger to me? When did I become a stranger to myself? The woman who'd slept with her husband's brother? The woman who was considering running away to London with a secret growing inside her? I slipped out of bed and went downstairs. Hanging on the wall was our wedding photo, William beaming proudly, me radiant in white. And there, slightly behind us, Franklin. His smile didn't quite reach his eyes. Had it been there all along? That look of quiet longing. Had I simply been too blind to see it? My phone lit up with another text, not from Franklin this time, it was Viola. Can we meet tomorrow at the cafe on Madison Street at noon? I think we need to talk. My heart started racing. What does she want? I thought. William must have talked to her. He must have ended things, or told her we are now going to London. She knew somehow. I typed back one word. Sure. The cafe was busy with weekday lunch crowds. I arrived 15 minutes early, choosing a corner table with a view of the entrance. I positioned myself to see who would arrive. I wanted the advantage, to take control of the situation, assert my dominance. I ordered herbal tea. I saw her before she saw me. Viola, his assistant. She was young, beautiful, and vibrant. I saw what William saw in her vitality, energy, a woman untouched by life's hardness. When she spotted me, smile faltered for just a second, then she straightened her shoulders and walked over, sliding into the seat across from me. Thank you for meeting me, she said, voice carefully modulated. I replied, equally controlled, How can I help you, Viola? The waitress appeared. She ordered an iced Americano without looking at the menu. When the waitress left, the professional mask slipped. You are making him miserable, she said, softly tapping a finger on the table. Your marriage is over, but you still seem to want to hold on. It's not doing anyone any good. Is that what William told you? I asked, feigning ignorance, making sure I did not break eye contact with her. She leaned forward. I think you know how William cares for me. We are in love. There it was. The confirmation I'd been waiting for, even though I'd already seen the evidence. Hearing her say it made it real in a way that text messages hadn't. Is that so? I said simply. She looked surprised at my calm demeanor. He doesn't know I'm here. He'd be furious if he knew, she said. We didn't plan this, she continued, her voice dropping to an urgent whisper. It just happened. We fought it for months. How noble of you both, I said. My voice was still eerily calm. She squirmed in her seat. I just wanted you to know you are coming between us. He accepted the London position. It all made sense now. They were planning on going to London together, form a new life, leaving behind the chaos their affair caused. Did he tell you we're having a baby? I asked calmly. She hesitated. Yes, he told me. I find it very convenient that you suddenly pop up pregnant just when he wants a divorce. Tears welling in her eyes as if she were the wronged party here. I'm sorry, she said. I know how difficult it was for you to conceive. William told me everything. Well, you should know, she continued. I am pregnant as well. 6 weeks. I chuckled inside, but I didn't show it. Instead, my mind began swirling. If only she knew what I knew, I thought to myself. I have some questions, I said calmly. She looked confused. And the divorce, I clarified. You're right, it's better to be prepared. Her confusion deepened. This wasn't going how she'd expected. Where was the scene? The tears, the begging. Little did she know I'd cried all my tears in private. This wasn't a spontaneous reaction. This was a methodical strategy. First, I said, did William mention our prenuptial agreement, the infidelity clause specifically? Her face went blank. What infidelity clause? The one his parents insisted on. It stipulates that in case of proven infidelity, the cheating spouse forfeits their claim to all jointly owned property and finances. I looked at her, smiling slightly. Including his shares in his father's company, the shares that would make him eligible for that comfortable London lifestyle. She didn't know that, neither did William, who had signed our prenup while hungover the day before our wedding, trusting his father's lawyer completely. He never mentioned that, she stammered. No? Interesting, I said. Second question. Are you aware that I've been documenting his absences, expenses, and communications for the past 3 months? Another bluff. I'd only discovered the affair a few weeks ago, but she didn't need to know that. You've been spying on him? She asked incredulously. Not spying, protecting myself, I corrected her. Final question. Do you know if I were to submit these findings to your HR dept, both you and William could be terminated? It is against company policy for a leader to fraternize with a subordinate. The color drained from her face. I leaned forward. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to walk away today. No drawn-out goodbyes, no begging and pleading, no explanations. You're going to request a transfer to another department or another office entirely, and you're never going to contact my husband again. You can't be serious, she whispered. If you don't, I'll take everything William has. Everything he's worked for. Everything his family has built. The scandal alone would destroy his career. And I would make it my personal goal to ruin your career before it's even started. I stood up, gathering my things. I'm sure what you have is very special, but is it worth that price? She sat frozen, iced American untouched. Pausing beside her chair, I know about the hotel room you booked for tonight, the one where you two were going to spend one more night in each other's arms. You're going to cancel it. One more thing, I added. I know the baby isn't William's. I didn't elaborate on how I knew. Panic washed over Viola's face. As I walked out of the cafe, my phone buzzed, a text from Franklin. I'm worried about you, please talk to me. For the first time in weeks, I felt a sense of clarity, a clear path forward through this tangled web of lies and betrayals. I texted back, Can you meet me tomorrow? I need your help with something important. Later that afternoon, I was at my OB/GYN's office for my first prenatal appointment. The next day was sunny and bright. The birds were chirping happily as if they knew retribution was coming. I met Franklin at a park across town. Neutral territory, away from potential prying eyes. He was already there when I arrived, sitting on a bench between cherry blossom trees. His shoulders hunched against the early spring chill. He jumped up when he saw me. Hey, he said, his eyes searching my face anxiously. What's going on? You've been avoiding me for weeks. I gestured for him to sit back down. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear my own thoughts. I need to tell you some things, I began slowly, but I need you to just listen before you say anything. He nodded, his expression growing more concerned. William's having an affair, I said. With his assistant Viola, it's been going on for months. He was planning to ask for a divorce. Franklin's face darkened. That bastard! I told him I knew about Viola and that I'd seen their messages. I told Franklin about my meeting with Viola and the prenup and about the documentation I gathered about their affair. What did he say? Franklin asked. His voice was tight with anger. He denied it at first, then admitted everything, then cried and begged for forgiveness. I let out a sarcastic chuckle. He said he'd made a terrible mistake, that he still loves me, that he'll break things off with Viola if I agree to go to London with him and start fresh. And you believe him? Franklin sounded incredulous. No, I said firmly. Franklin ran a hand through his hair, so like William's, yet different, softer. Shit, I'm so sorry. I never thought he'd do something like this, not to you. I took a deep breath. This was the moment, the point of no return. There's more, I said quietly. I'm pregnant. His head snapped up, eyes wide open. Then came the rapid-fire questions. You're what? Are you sure? How far along? 8 weeks, I said. I watched as he did the mental calculation. His face shifted from shock to realization to fear. 8 weeks, he repeated. That would mean, yes, I confirmed. It's yours, Franklin. He stood up abruptly, pacing in front of the bench. Are you sure? I mean, absolutely sure? He asked. William and I haven't been intimate in about 3 months, I explained. He sat back down, head in his hands. Oh my God, he kept saying to himself. There's more, I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. William thinks it's his miracle baby. He thinks that's why I haven't immediately thrown him out because I'm finally pregnant with his child. Franklin looked up at me, his expression unreadable. What are you going to do? This was the moment I had been rehearsing since yesterday, the pivot point of my entire plan. I'm going to London with William, I said. Franklin stood up again. You can't be serious after what he did. The baby is safer with this arrangement, I interrupted. Think about it, Franklin. If I leave William now, if I tell him the truth about the baby, what happens? A scandal? Lawsuits? Your parents would be devastated. Your relationship with your brother would be destroyed forever. My relationship with my brother has never been solid, he said bitterly. He doesn't deserve you or this child. I stood up and took his hands in mine. Listen to me. William has been offered a huge promotion, access to family money, property resources. This baby, your baby, deserves all of that. So what, you're just going to lie forever? Raise my child with him in another country? His voice cracked with emotion. No, I said firmly. I'm going to secure our future first. I explained my plan, the one I'd been refining since that text message at 3:39 a.m. that infamous evening. Go to London and use the prenuptial agreement. I'd actually studied carefully as leverage. I'll have William put everything in both our names as a sign of his commitment to our fresh start. Wait until the baby is born to establish British citizenship for the child. Then, when everything was legally secured, reveal the truth. You want revenge, Franklin said, realization dawning on his face. Yes, and I want security. I answered, for me and for this baby. Your brother was willing to throw away 6 years of marriage, our entire life together. He told her about my struggles to conceive. Franklin, my private pain was pillow talk for them. Franklin flinched. I'm doing this because it's the smartest move for everyone involved, even William, though he doesn't deserve my consideration. And what about me? Franklin asked quietly. Do I just wait, pretend nothing's happening while my child grows up an ocean away? I squeezed his hands. 6 months. That's all I'm asking. 6 months to put everything in place. Then you can decide what role you want in our lives. There was a moment, just a flash, where everything seemed possible. A different future. A family with Franklin instead. This wasn't about romance or replacing one brother with another. This was about survival. Making sure the baby and I have a life that is best for us. Be with someone who actually wanted us. I need to know if you're with me. I said, if you'll wait and keep this secret until the time is right. He was silent for a long moment. Conflict, clear on his face. Finally, he nodded. I'll wait for the baby and you. His eyes met mine. 3 weeks later, William and I boarded a plane to London. He held my hand the entire flight, believing we were flying toward reconciliation and a fresh start. He believed he'd gotten everything he wanted. A pregnant wife willing to forgive. A prestigious new job, a clean slate? Fool. What he didn't know was that while he slept beside me on that transatlantic flight, I was awake, mentally reviewing the documentation I'd secretly gathered, the text messages, the email exchanges, the hotel receipts, the prenuptial agreement with its ruthless infidelity clause, all safely stored in encrypted files backed up in multiple locations. In my carry-on bag, hidden inside, was a copy of What to Expect When You're Expecting, a signed affidavit from Viola herself detailing their affair, insurance I'd obtained during a second private meeting with her. As we began our descent into Heathrow Airport, William squeezed my hand. I promise I'll make everything up to you, he whispered. You and the baby. I smiled back at him, a genuine smile because for the first time in a long time I felt completely in control of my life. I know you will, I said softly. 6 months later, I stood at the window of our London townhouse, watching snow fall softly on the street below. My hand rested on my protruding belly, feeling the strong kicks of the little girl inside me. Franklin's child. The door opened behind me. William came home early from work. Hey, he said, coming to stand beside me. Beautiful, isn't it? It was London. The snow had a magical quality I'd grown to appreciate, just as I'd grown to appreciate many things about my new life here. The anonymity of a foreign city, the independence I'd cultivated, the financial security I'd methodically built. William pretended to be a model husband these past few months, attentive, loving, excited about the baby. He'd given me everything I asked for. Joint accounts, co-ownership of properties, my name on every legal document, signs of his commitment to our fresh start. Little did he know that each signature, each legal formality was another piece in my carefully constructed safety net. "The nursery is finally finished," he said, his arm sliding around my waist. "Want to see?" I followed him down the hall to the room we'd spent weeks preparing: pale pink walls, wooden crib stuffed animals arranged just so a perfect nursery for a perfect baby. "It's lovely," I said, and meant it. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He checked it with a slight frown crossing his face. "Everything okay?" I asked casually. "Just work," he said, but his eyes didn't meet mine. "Listen, I forgot some files at the office. I should probably go back and get them." "On a snowy Friday evening?" Okay." I nodded, keeping my expression neutral. "Of course, don't be too late." After he left, I went to my laptop and checked the tracking app I'd installed on his phone months ago. Not that I needed it anymore. I'd already gathered all the evidence I required, but old habits die hard. His little dot moved not toward his office, but toward a hotel in Croydon. Apparently, the London branch had a Viola of its own. Some men never change. I picked up my phone and dialed a number I knew by heart. "Hey," Franklin answered on the first ring. "How are you feeling?" "It's time," I said simply. There was a pause. "You're sure?" he asked. "I am sure." I looked down at my belly. "The baby will be here in 4 weeks. All the paperwork is in place. Everything's ready. I'll book my flight," he said. "I'll be there in 2 weeks." A wave of emotion washed over me. Relief, anticipation, a touch of fear. "He's at a hotel with someone again." Franklin sighed. "Are you surprised?" "No," I admitted. "Just disappointed." "I thought maybe for the baby's sake, but some people don't change, Franklin said gently. We talked for a while longer, finalizing details of his arrival, his temporary accommodations, and the plan for what would happen next. After we hung up, I wandered back to the nursery, sitting in the rocking chair William had assembled with such care. The irony wasn't lost on me. How hard he'd worked to create this perfect facade while simultaneously undermining it with his actions. When he came home 3 hours later, snow in his hair and guilt in his eyes, I was waiting for him in the living room. On the coffee table between us lay a folder. "What's this?" he asked, unwinding his scarf. "Divorce papers," I said calmly, "and copies of the evidence I've gathered over the past 4 months documenting your continued infidelity." The color drained from his face. "What are you talking about?" "Please," I said while raising my hand, suddenly tired of the pretense, "don't insult me with more lies. I know about the woman from your London office, just like I knew about Viola back home." He stared at me, shock giving way to anger. "You've been spying on me." "I've been protecting myself," I corrected, "and the baby." His face softened at the mention of the baby. "Look, I've made mistakes, terrible ones, but we can work through this for the baby." I shook my head no. "Franklin arrives in 2 weeks." The mention of his brother's name confused him. "Franklin? Why would Franklin?" Cutting him off, I told him everything. About that night, how I discovered his affair with Viola, about the paternity of the child I was carrying, about the coordinated plan his brother and I had formed. I watched his face crumple with each detail revealed. "You've been lying to me this whole time?" he whispered. "We both have," I said simply. "The difference is I did it to survive. You did it because you could." 4 weeks later, as Franklin held my hand in the delivery room while I brought his daughter into the world, I finally felt the weight of deception lift from my shoulders. Sometimes the hardest path leads to the most honest destination.